Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and I haven't done one of these in a while, but this is going to be one of my opinion piece kind of videos. You may notice my phone because I've got notes on what I want to say about this. So I've seen a few things lately saying that loot boxes are ruining gaming, and, I think it's something I'd kind of like to address. So let's start with the negatives of loot boxes, and obviously there are two games that come to mind immediately when you want to talk about bad things being done with loot boxes. First is Battlefront II. I mean, let's face it, while I admittedly didn't run into a huge problem with it, I could see it turning into a very big problem. But you buy the currency, you buy more loot boxes, and you can unlock super powerful star cards, and eventually you can end up with better abilities than other players because you simply paid to get them. That is very much an example of pay to win, and that is not okay. If I can slap down an extra like $30 and suddenly have a massive advantage over somebody else who didn't, but they've sunk in like 60 hours of gameplay, that's bullshit. It is that simple. The next game obviously comes to mind, same publisher, is Need for Speed Payback. Now this was even worse than Battlefront 2 in my opinion because it negatively affected the campaign. Like the story mode single player shit was fucked up by it. Specifically the fact that your choice was grind and grind and grind and grind for hours, or you could cough up money so that you could buy better parts and upgrade your car. I mean, we're not even going to delve into the technical issues with the game, but let's talk about the fact that you could basically pay to play your way through. And not could, they expected you to. That's how fucked up it was. I got some comments regarding the amount of time I put into the game, and they're wrong. Because I sank a lot of time into the game trying to progress through it, but it was such a drag to do because of the sheer amount of grinding required. I sank a lot more time into that game than I really should have because I had to grind to progress the story. It wasn't like, oh, I'm having trouble with this race, I'm gonna put in a little bit of time. No, it was, if I want to complete this race at all, I'm going to have to sink in a lot of time grinding to get better parts. So they basically expected you to, rather than do that, pay money to buy better parts so that you can actually progress the story. And that's just not okay in any way, shape, and or form. That's you buying a game and then having to pay extra money simply to progress through that disc or download that you bought. That takes a $60 game and turns it into 90, 120, whoever the fuck knows how much you have to spend to actually do that. Completely unacceptable. Then you've got the way to do it right, and the obvious example and immediate example in my mind is Overwatch. Do you need to buy loot boxes in that game? Absolutely not. If you buy a loot box, does it affect the gameplay in any way, shape, and or form? Absolutely not. I mean, it is that simple. It is purely cosmetic. It is purely aesthetic. It changes the way your character looks, sounds, what they say, what they spray on a wall. It does not affect the actual gameplay, and that is what loot boxes should do. Like, if you want to pay extra for that, pay some extra for that. But you shouldn't be able to pay to win. Now, you may be wondering, is there a middle ground? I think there is, and it's Call of Duty right now. Even the last Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare. So if you play in normal mode, you could kind of pay to win because you could buy the supply drops, and some of those would have epic guns, which would have enhanced stats and whatnot. Now, yes, that sounds like pay to win immediately, but if you want to get rid of that, all you have to do is play hardcore mode, and that eliminates that. You can take the pissiest gun in Call of Duty, and in hardcore mode, if you're skilled enough, you can wreck shop with it. In Black Ops 2, I used to run around with a pistol class, and I used to do really well, and I could do that in Infinite Warfare as well. Not quite as easily, because Black Ops 2 had the most customizable pistols. But that's besides the point. If you have a hardcore mode, unlike Star Wars Battlefront II, you can eliminate those unfair advantages that people can pay for. Or you've got Call of Duty World War II. Yes, you can buy the COD points, you can buy supply drops with real money, or you can earn them through the game, but either way, you can get epic guns, and they don't mean shit when it actually comes to the gameplay. They don't do greater damage, they don't have basically any real advantages other than you will level up faster with them. They give you experience bonuses. That is another good way of doing it. They're also partly aesthetic, but the point being, at the end of the day, you can pay for them and they won't actually affect the gameplay. So do I think loot boxes are ruinous to gaming as a whole? No, I do not. I think they can absolutely ruin a game if they're done wrong. Let's face it, Battlefront 2 was dead on arrival because of the whole loot box controversy. And one of the big complaints a lot of reviewers had with Need for Speed Payback was, again, grinding or having to buy parts with real money. So if developers want to have the microtransactions, the like mini DLCs, the not real story stuff, but like, oh, you want this gun, etc., and you have to pay for it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it, so long as it doesn't affect the gameplay. The second it unbalances multiplayer, the second it makes it so I can't progress through a single player, that's when I have a huge problem with it. And I think everybody's focused on the two negative examples, but they're not focusing on the ones that have done it right. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me if you've ever paid for a loot box? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.